Delaney, thank you. Just 1 teaspoon of salt permanently pollutes 5 gallons of water. And as sodium and chloride levels continue to rise in Wisconsin drinking water, local leaders are highlighting alternatives to salt our roadways. Wisconsin Saltwise is a statewide program working to reduce salt pollution in Wisconsin's lakes, streams, and drinking water. They're teaming up with contractors and public works crews across Wisconsin to educate them about smart salting, science-backed strategies to maintain safety while still reducing overall salt use. Today, they held an in-person training with Bruce Company staff where they demonstrated methods to avoid over-application.
By doing this, by reducing chlorides, we're also really helping all of the plant life too, and that's really what it comes down to, right? So, and it's our effort to do the right thing.
All salt applied to pavement ultimately will find its way into local lakes, streams, and your drinking water, which is why Wisconsin Saltwise says these improved practices are so critical.